Well, it's my pleasure to have JP back on the show, and he has a new update to share with us, as well as some information about some people that have approached him about going dark. So, welcome again, JP, to the show.
How you doing, Doc? Happy to be here to bring information and to share what's happening, behind the scenes and certain, things that happen in my life now that I'm out from the military. So, yeah, let's go.
Yeah, so we did an update, or we did a webinar on October 25. You were there, George Cavassalis was there, and both of you shared kind of similar information that you've been approached by white hats and told to kind of like go dark or stand down. So yeah, you want to explain what happened in your case?
Yeah, I got approached by people dressed in black, but they seemed to be friendly and they just told me to stop talking about my experience. And I told them, why do I have to stop talking about my experience? And they did not give me no answer on that, but they just want me to calm down on the Medbeds and 3iAtlas. So, and I know we talked about it in your webinar, and I told them straight up. I said, hey, I'm gonna keep talking, and they told me, hey, you have to be careful and not talk certain things. So they told me about certain things not to talk about. So I can still talk, to people and all that, but I can't talk about certain things about those subjects. So I can talk about Medbeds and 3iAtlas, but there's certain things that is connected to that I started talking about that they told me to stop talking about. So they said 2 months. Stop talking about it for 2 months. So I'm gonna comply with that. I'm gonna wait 2 months and then I'll keep bringing updates on Medbeds and 3iAtlas and what's happening.
And you also mentioned undersea events and also atmospheric events, that those were also topics they didn't want you to talk about over the next couple of months.
Yes, yes. Certain ocean events or weather events that I started talking about it, and they just want me to stop because in some places it can affect the political point of view of the other people. So I'll just get out of it. I don't want
Yeah.
to. Yeah.
Okay. And you said that these guys that were dressed in black that approached you, that they were kind of friendly. So you kind of got the feeling that these were part of the white hats, that they were kind of like that this was, I guess, the idea is that this is kind of like operational security, that they have some operations planned, and if you're talking on those topics, that might compromise their security and planning.
Oh yeah, yeah. Right after the webinar, you see this big trip that the commander in chief is doing. So I kind of understand what's happening. So it's just to put things together, and they're trying to add people more on the Artemis Accord, as you can see, as you spoke about it. And there's certain things that we can't talk about for the security of this nation that we live in. So
Right, yeah.
I know there's something big that's gonna go down. I don't know what it is. Well, I kind of know what it is, but I can't talk about what it is.
Right, right.
So I got approached by this other, type of agency. I'll tell you off cameras later on. And they want me, to do something. So let's see what happens.
Okay, so are you talking about them employing you in some capacity? Is that what happened? There's some agency or group that wants you to work for them, and you are going to decide whether you're going to do that.
Yeah, I'm gonna decide. So depending if I join, I have to go dark for a little bit, and
Right.
similar to when I was in the military.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I'm sure all your supporters will understand that, and I'm sure they'll wish you the best, and know that you have a track record of putting out information even while you're serving in
Yeah.
the military. So if you do join some other government agency, that I expect you'll still find a way. And I guess this is one of the things that we talked about, and that's discussed in the book, that the agreements that the Nordics reached with the Air Force was that you would be allowed to talk. So I imagine
Yeah.
the same would happen with this agency.
Yeah. I still got the connections with the Nordics. they still visit me. Something interesting happened in my backyard again. I don't know what's in my backyard or how I ended up with this house that I got. But you've been there. So, I have a big wood line and all that you can get lost in there. So I went in there and I saw a couple, deers and all that. And I started following the deers and I look up and I hear this humming noise, Doc, and I see these three orbs the size of beach balls, right? And they're really bright, just like this light right here, like 5 times brighter, like a bluish white light. And they did a triangle on me and they started going around really fast. And I got nervous and I got scared because I never experienced this. I remember following an orb in New York when I was younger into the woods, but these orbs they were going around really fast, and it created like a tunnel that you can look up. So I started looking up, and I started looking around, and everything started looking like it was glitterish, like a glitterish, like fading out in and out from existence. And I started looking up, and I could put my hands through, and I could see my hands like fading away, like from right here. I couldn't see my hands no more when I went like this. So these orbs they're just like above my head, going around, and I could see like a portal looking up. And I went to get my camera to take videos, but my phone was not working. My phone was like completely. I'm sure that it has an energy that doesn't let no radio or any kind of connection happens with communication devices. And the orbs, they stopped, and I was looking at them just to study what they are. And I remember when I was in that mission or that training that we were training the pilots how to fly the Nordic ships. I did see these orbs flying around, these same orbs, beach ball size, and they were flying around. So these are the orbs that do recon. When the orbs stopped, I heard a voice, and I heard a voice, and I said, "Who are you?" And he did not tell me his name. And it told me that I have a great mission. There's going to be a big mission I'm going to do, and it was going to happen soon. And he said that it was going to be about the ark. Then these balls started going really fast. After I heard that voice, and it was in English, a voice I could understand. In the background, you could hear a echo of a different language. So, like if it was a whatever device these balls, these orbs were, they were translating whatever who was talking to me. So I heard English first, but in the background, I heard another language. It was an ancient Greek-looking language. I'm good with different dialects, with Hebrew, with Arabic, with Greek. I can pick up good dialects. So it sounded like an ancient Greek language. And these balls that they separated and they went straight up. And my whole body felt glowy. I was looking at my hairs of my arms, and they were looking like goldish around. And I even got like white hair that grew that I didn't have right under my like in my beard. And my whole body was like just glowing. And after 2 or 3 minutes, it stopped glowing. And that's what happened to me. And since that day on, this happened when I came back. When I told you I had an update, this happened before I went to the wedding in
Okay.
Orlando.
So we're talking like on Thursday of last week, was it
Yeah.
Thursday? So that would have been the 22nd of October.
And right after that, that's when I got approached with the man, people dressed in black telling me you got to settle down, you got to stop talking. So it was an experience that,
hmm
I think religious people will call it heavenly,
hmm
you know?
Okay, so you don't think that voice was part of the military, that this was maybe
Mhm.
an extraterrestrial group, a Nordic group that was communicating with you through the orb?
Yeah.
Okay. And as I recall, JP, in the past, when you've been given notice about upcoming meetings, it's always been the Nordics that give you the warning that you're
Mhm.
going to go on a big mission.
Yes, yes. There's always the Nordics that give me that I'm gonna go to get myself ready. That's when I start meditating. Before
Right.
now, I've been meditating and I've been having these weird dreams, doc about me visiting the arcs. And I in the dream I enter into the arc, and it was like a back, like if I was back with the Aztec Mexicans, and they're singing Akuria Mate, and I got these coordinations, these Google coordinates of a 7 mile long object inside the ocean that looks similar to the arc, and I'll hand that to you after this update.
Interesting. So that this mission likely is going to involve you going back into one of the arcs, but it sounds like it's going to be the Atlantic space arc.
The Atlantic space arcs, yeah. And it's crazy while all this is happening, this guy that has a big YouTube channel from Mexico, he sends me some coordinates about some other guy that gave him coordinates of the Atlantic space arc. So I think there's multiple people that are getting these same coordinates of, so it's confirmation that the guy from Mexico send this other guy that does YouTube channels coordinates, and the guy send me the coordinates, and I send the other guy the coordinates, and they're like really close to each other, these coordinates. So I'm going to share the both coordinates of the guy from Mexico that sent me, and then my coordinates, the one I received, about the location.
Okay,
I
so
received it in dreams, like numbers and west, east, like I see it in my dreams. Like if my body gets out and I'm there, my consciousness is there.
interesting. So you wake up after one of these dreams, and you've got some coordinates that you then look up on Google or on Google Earth, and you see some huge structure there.
Yeah, I see some structure that looks similar to how the arc looked like. So I think it's time for people to see, I guess,
Yeah,
this massive
yeah,
arc. And I measure it, and it was like 7 miles. I'm like, I don't know, man. It's like bigger than usual, but it makes sense now. It could be that long, that big.
right. Because in the past, I think you've said it was like 2 times the size of an aircraft carrier, or 3 or 4
Football
times,
field.
or football field, 2 or 3 times the size of a football field. But now what the object you saw on Google Maps was like 7 miles. So
Yeah,
obviously much longer.
much longer, much bigger, and I'll give you the coordinates. I have it.
Okay.
You know what? I can send it to you right now. Let me see. I'll send it to you right now, and maybe you can put it up. I don't know if you can put it up.
So this mission, did you get any idea when it's going to happen?
Probably sometime this November coming up.
I see.
Someday in November, I'm gonna get summon, or yeah, and I feel it's gonna be something really, really, really cool. I think it's gonna bring a lot of information of what's happening around the world right now.
Hmm. Now, I think the last time you talked about the Atlantic space arc, you talked about it kind of like being activated, that it
Moving.
had gone up into the sky and was up there for some time. So what now? It's back down under the ocean?
It's in between Puerto Rico and the bottom south part of Puerto Rico, that area.
Oh, I see. Okay. So it's now back at the bottom of the ocean, and here we're talking about probably the Navy, the US Navy has attached that donut shaped structure above it so that people can do missions, or missions can be conducted from the top again.
Well, I'm sure if the Nordics are involved of moving these arcs, I'm sure they can move it above where they could just enter, and won't need to penetrate the oceans in order to enter the arc. So I'm sure they will move it up in order to have entrance into the arc.
Okay. So,
Like a submarine type of ship, or it can come out and it can go in. The technology isn't unbelievable.
mhm. Okay, so the Nordics are still playing a role in controlling the space arcs, but I guess they're working closely with the US Navy and Space Command.
Yes, they're working really close with the military, and I think also Israel found something, right, that they're using in order to activate certain things inside the ark. So
Interesting. Israel found something. So we're talking about some ancient technology that was buried there?
some ancient technology they found in Israel by the mountain that they recovered.
By the mountain. Are we talking Mount Hermon or something?
Mount Hermon, where they plan to build the next temple.
Oh, temple. Okay. Oh, that's in Jerusalem. Mount Hermon is more in the kind of border area with Syria. That's where the
Well,
four.
I know it's a north part of Israel, Mount
Okay.
Hermon. So I think they found it in Mount Hermon, the object that they
Okay.
found. And yes, the Israel military is involved.
That's interesting because Mount Hermon is where the fallen angels landed, according to the Book of Enoch, and that was their initial base of operations. So there's probably a spaceport underneath Mount Hermon.
So it's like a major key that they found that
Mhm.
activates a lot of rooms in the ark, apparently. So
Right.
it's exciting for everybody because it activated a lot of different rooms that were dormant inside the ark.
Mhm. Interesting. Okay. And I imagine that there's a lot of secret technologies, ancient technologies buried in that area of Palestine that's so heavily contested that those technologies can be used for space arc activation.
And like I said in the webinars, they're finding boxes of rooms under Venezuela and under the Devil's Tower. They found structures also, and they're also finding structures. I think NASA is going to let this information out soon. I don't know if I'm going to be the first one telling you this, but we can have it here as a record that they're finding hexagon structures under the sands and dunes of Mars.
That's
Also,
interesting. Okay, so we can look forward to NASA imagery from the, say, the orbiters, the Mars Reconnaissance Orbiter, or the other ones that are up there, showing hexagonal shaped structures under the surface of Mars.
so apparently the passing of 3iAtlas has activated heat signatures under the surface of certain areas of Mars that they can see hexagon buildings or something like that under the surface of Mars. So it has been activated, apparently.
Okay, so 3iAtlas is activating ancient technologies, not just on Earth, but on Mars. Now, it's interesting that you mentioned Venezuela, that they discovered some structures or some ancient technologies in Venezuela, because that would explain why the US is so interested now in, let's just say, getting into Venezuela.
The south part of Venezuela, they found these structures inside their type of rainforest. And these structures, they look like pyramids, but they're really deep. They're really deep, similar to the structures they found under the Egyptian pyramids. They found major structures under the Venezuela, South Venezuela, and they're trying to keep that from the public. But I don't think that's going to be kept soon when they
Mm.
find out. Or either the Venezuelans, they're gonna let that information out, or the United States will let that information out. And apparently it has a lot of gold or something like that, a lot of
Wow.
different metals there in Venezuela. So
Yeah, I remember that mission that you did where you were taken by a Black Hawk helicopter from Eglin somewhere north during the winter, or into an area that was kind of like snow capped, and there was a huge cavern with huge deposits of gold bars everywhere that was being shipped and relocated around the world. Have you ever heard anything more about that?
the location is somewhere around it, a little bit in between Canada and South, but I don't remember traveling that far. So, but the location they say is in between Canada and the United States, the area, and one of those states neighboring Canada.
Right.
So, but it's still in the United States side. But yes, it goes under Canada as well. But I don't remember, not unless because they do sometimes the military they do when you go to these missions, something happens that you black out and then you just open up your eyes and you're there, so in these missions sometimes you do, everybody blacks out. I don't know if they give you something or what you wear has something or a patch that sleeps you until you get to the location, but I know it was, I close my eyes. Everybody dozes off in these trips, and you open your eyes and you're there. So you don't question it. You're part of the mission. So they do whatever they want with you, I guess, it's not like you have a choice.
Right. Okay. Okay. Good. Well, it'd be interesting to see, what happens with the kind of gold supply and the currency and all of that. So, anything else you want to share with the audience about, your latest update? What to expect?
You're going to expect to see more orbs. I'm sure people are already taking videos of these strange beach balls types of orbs. There's always like a type of protocol when you see them. Always, if they approach, be calm. Don't get crazy about it. Don't point at it. Don't do nothing. Just be calm and get into a meditative state, and they will approach you. They can connect a lot with the heartbeat. So if you accelerate it, they will go. If you're calm, they will start investigating you and getting close. Okay. All right. Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Well, I want to thank
Sorry.
you. I want to thank you again, JP, for sharing this latest update, and I do look forward to hearing what happens in the future with you, and especially this new development with your career and being approached by another organization to join.
Yeah, let's see what happens. We're here to bring disclosure. We're here to bring the truth. The white hats are winning, and a lot of things are changing around the world in the political, exopolitical point of view as well. And you're the one that's bringing this information out, and I'm really happy that I approached you for the first time with my experience, and look where we're at right now. Everybody's talking about these experiences and talking about these new technologies and all that, and I think humanity is going to know soon. I know a lot of people are fiending for disclosure, but it is happening. It is happening. Just open up your eyes, look at the news, and it's happening under our noses. Just receive it.
Okay, thanks, JP.
No problem. JP out.
Aloha.
You have been listening to Exopolitics Today with Dr. Michael Salla. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Join or start a conversation in the comments. Take the time to explore the vast library of best-selling books, webinars, and podcasts by Dr. Salla. Visit exopoliticstoday.com.